Are all Albanians like this?
No, I don't want to say not
Americanized ones.
No, I will not speak for, but a lot of the old school, there's very much toxic, like generational trauma. People do not acknowledge it. They will not acknowledge it.
So she didn't let you go.
No, not that she didn't. I had to ask for permission. And like, she would treat me like shit when I'd come back from my mom's because she was jealous. She was always like mad that I had my mom and her daughter didn't have her. So she was always pissed at me. And I'm like, what the hell?
He would cause problems with you because his mom was mad.
Yeah, and it was always something. She would always cause us to argue. If he put his hand on my lap like this, she'd make fun of him, make him feel embarrassed. Even if I spoke English to him, which I did all the time because we never had privacy. Our apartment was small. She'd like be pissed and be like, you guys can speak Albanian. Like, why can't I have a private conversation with my fucking husband? Why do you have to be involved in everything? She came everywhere. Vacations with us. She came to the store with us. She came anywhere. And she was always in the front seat. I was always in the back seat. I was third wheeling with him and her.
That's fucking
it's so cringe.
So cringe.
When I felt like they were married, not me, and I was just like a tag along is what it always felt like. It was so bizarre.
And you were controlled.
Yeah. Anytime I was on my phone, like we had the Albanian channel on TV because she doesn't understand English.
And you
like,
had to sit there and watch it with her.
I would sit there and I'm like, I don't understand what they're saying.
Do you hear what she's saying? She had to sit with her.
I had to.
She couldn't go do her own thing.
No,
she couldn't go have her own alone time. If she were to do that, she would complain to him.
Your wife's been in her room too long. Your wife's been on the phone. Why are you telling? I'm not going to sit and watch TV.
That's traumatic too.
It's so traumatic.
That's very traumatic.
Yeah. And then when I'd go to the bathroom, I'd go in the bathroom long because of her.
Because, okay. You know how you and I always have to tell people when we're going to the bathroom? Mm-hmm. Is that why you do it?
Yeah.
Because you don't want people to, because I'm used to being timed in the bathroom.
But she also
I was always timed by my ex-mother-in-law. Always timed.
But I think that's why she would sit in the bathroom extra long.
It was my only privacy.
She didn't have that capability before either.
She got to like relax.
Yeah, that was her time.
That was my privacy in the bathroom. And then she would always be like, you like live in the bathroom? And I would literally just sit on the floor in the bathroom just to get away from her.
Now, your first child. Mm-hmm. Was with him?
Yeah, it was with both my kids.
I remember you saying you like the idea of having a baby was hope for you.
Whoa. Oh yeah. I mean, I was depressed. I think I finally like hit depression. She made me like hit. I had no hope anymore. Yeah. I was like, I hate my life. So I finally got pregnant, and then going into that, she made my pregnancy fucking hard, arguing and starting up shit. And eventually I remember I had very horrible headaches. Could bash my head against the wall and it wouldn't have hurt.
But you were also 8 months pregnant.
I was 8 months pregnant. Yeah. And I had my daughter's stuff bought. I had her crib. I had everything.
Clothes.
Everything
you needed.
Like I was already ready. And I remember in the middle of the night, I was getting like pains and stuff in my abdomen area. We went. And doctor said I was fine. They're like, oh, it's just a UTI. It just felt wrong. Like I was getting mini labor cramps. It was very little, but I felt it. I'm like, it doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
He's like, no, everything's fine. I'm like, okay. So I go home. Literally like a couple hours later, I'm in bed. I wake up to go pee. And I woke up. I'm like, why is my thighs wet? And like I had blood all over my thighs. I went to wake up Frank. I'm like, we need to go to the hospital. I'm bleeding. We rushed to the hospital. But mind you, I wasn't scared. For some reason, I didn't think it was like something bad. I'm going to go there. Maybe they're going to tell me like she has to come out earlier. You know, it was one of the most traumatic experiences of my life. It topped everything for me. I get there and they're doing and everybody's just sitting there quiet.
That's the worst.
There was like 6 doctors in there and they're doing it. It felt like 20 minutes. No one said anything. Wipes my stomach, puts my thing, and then just turns to me and she goes, I'm sorry to tell you, but your baby has no heartbeat.
Oh my God, I'm gonna cry.
In that moment, like I'm thinking about, I was just fucking here. I
didn't know.
But I didn't know it was because of listeria. I still didn't know. I'm like, but I was just here. My baby was alive. You guys told me she was fine.
Yeah.
I was like, we could have saved her, but you guys sent me home. I was so mad and angry, and I was just like, they couldn't get me to Frank was trying to hold me and get me to stop screaming, and he was crying, and I'm like, I don't know what they gave me to calm me down. They gave me something. I don't remember. They gave me something, and I started to calm down. But like my whole like is when
Your whole world basically flipped upside down.
I hated. Fuck you. What else do you want to like put on my plate after everything in my life that I've been through? You take the one thing that I wanted to give me some happiness in this world.
Right.
A purpose. I wanted to feel like I had a purpose, and I wanted to be a mother so bad.
Wait, that's making me cry.
I didn't feel like I had a purpose, and I wanted to give love to my child that I never received as a child. When that got taken away from me, I was just suicidal after that point. My mother-in-law was fine for the first week. She understood. Then the second week, it's like, get over it.
And she made you throw away everything.
She didn't make me throw it. She threw it away, actually. She didn't even ask me. She just threw away the baby stuff that
everything.
I had.
She didn't get to save one
The
thing.
baby's clothes.
Tell them about the box that you got from the hospital.
Yeah, that's what she threw out. She threw away the box of like whatever pictures I had of the baby that the hospital took of her when she came out stillborn.
They had them and you didn't get to keep them?
I didn't keep any of the pictures.
So you had to give birth.
Yeah.
I almost died. I had like 104 fever, and they were going to give me an emergency C-section.
Because you were getting septic.
Yeah. And they couldn't understand. They're like, what is going on? Then this nurse, she was so amazing. She put hold stuff. I was shivering. I remember I was like, I couldn't stop, and I was so mad because I'm like, please, I'm so close. She's like, I'm sorry. We have to. My fever went down, and then it took 2 seconds of me pushing the baby out. That's how small she was. So
Did you get to see her?
I didn't want to because I didn't want to see her like that.
Yeah, I understand.
So I was so afraid to see what she looked like.
Yeah.
Because obviously she wasn't alive anymore. So I'm like, I don't want to even think.
I get that.
So I was so afraid. But I know I saw like a foot, and it was dark. Like, the baby was dark from no oxygen.
Yeah.
So they took the baby, and I just like was crying and all this. You could feel everyone's sadness in the room. It was a sad moment. And then I remember the next day I had that mom guilt. She deserves to at least let me hold her. Like, I'm gonna hold her. So the good thing about it is like they put them in like the freezer area, like in the cold area, so they look like they're sleeping. So her skin tone was normal. And I had like a half hour with her, and I was just holding her the whole time.
So you got to see her face.
Yeah, I actually saw her. She had so much hair.
Yeah.
She was so pretty.
She was a pretty baby.
Yeah, and then that was the last time they took her. And
What was her name?
Ava.
Yeah.
And then that's all. Yeah, that was it. I never went to her funeral because didn't want to do that either. I didn't want to see her in a little box.
You couldn't accept it.
No. And that ate me up because for a long time I didn't go visit her grave. I didn't even know where her grave was. And
to be honest, even when we first started dating, I don't think you had even then mourned it.
I didn't.
I mourned it with you. 10 years later, and I had to be like, baby, it's time. Like, we have to.
She's the one who got me through that because I felt guilty. I'm like, it's because I ate something.
Herself.
Whatever I ate, like, I'm like, I put it in my mouth.
Yeah, I remember the conversations we would have. You'd be like, did I torture her while she was like dying?
In my stomach, a month.
Like, she was just blaming. I'm like, Rhea,
because I felt like shit for a whole month. I'm like,
you.
Was she in pain? Like, did she go peacefully? I felt that mom guilt forever.
And then on top of that, you were also being like abused. You were also being like abused, beaten down,
mentally
in your home,
beaten down by my mother-in-law,
and told to like get over it.
She's like, you can have
You'll
another
try
one.
again.
Try again.
Right. She said something. Didn't she say like?
She's like, I lost a baby too.
Who cares?
Like, I lost one. I got over it. Like, who cares? It happens to people all the time. And I'm like, who are you? Her son would be sad too. Like, he would. She'd tell him the same thing. I'm like, you're awful. I'm like, why? Where is with these awful parents all around me? Like, what is? Do I attract awful human beings?
Is toxicity in your nature?
So yeah, I mean, it was just bad. She threw the baby stuff. Like, I didn't even say anything. I let it go, and it was just hurtful. You know, I wasn't allowed to process it.
You weren't allowed to mourn.
No.
So how long after you lost Ava did you get pregnant again?
I stopped caring. I didn't focus on it. I stopped caring. I went to the gym. I got excited about working out. Mm-hmm. It was like fun for me. And then randomly, like one day, I'm like, my nipples were itchy or something. Like,
oh, you didn't try?
No, I did. Well, I mean, I still had I mean, we did.
But you weren't like intentionally like, let's get pregnant.
No.
Okay.
I didn't care. I mean, Frank still wanted to try, but I like didn't care at that point because I'm like, I don't want to experience that shit again anyway. So if I don't get pregnant, I don't care. My period was like 1 day late. I'm like, that's not normal. I always get my period like 4 days early every time. We took a pregnancy test. They said I was pregnant and I was so excited, but also like scared. I'm like, no, we're not. I don't want to do this again. Like, and that was the most traumatic pregnancy. After Ava, it was again a horrible pregnancy.
So before you get pregnant with Ayla, you got very depressed.
Yeah. I was suicidal. I was in the bathroom and all I could think about was like, how can I kill myself?
This was before
Ayla?
Ayla.
Before Ayla.
Okay.
It was during this whole like, and I think I was feeling postpartum because 100%. That's a thing too. The postpartum, my hormones, all of them were off. I was miserable at home. It didn't obviously help. Yeah. So I just was like, so how do I kill myself without it being painful? And I just kept thinking about so many scenarios and like, how do I get things? Like, how do I get certain pills? Or I was trying to think of a million ways to do it.
Did you?
She had no idea.
I didn't know she was suicidal. No.
I didn't tell anybody. Nobody. And then I don't know why. I don't know what in my head. It was just like, no. Like, I don't know. It was
Ava.
Something just was like, you got to stop. Like, we're not, you can't think like this. Mm-hmm. You got to keep going. I don't know what it was. I can't explain it. I still can't.
It was definitely your guides on the other side.
I still couldn't explain it. Because I was at my low. Yeah. I really didn't care about life anymore. Literally, I would drive and I'd be like, I hope somebody fucking kills me. Like, I hope somebody hits me. I die and they're gonna be fine. But like, I want to die. Like, I would literally sometimes speed just to because
you had no care about life anymore.
Yeah. If I had access to pills, if I had access to anything that was gonna,
thank God you didn't.
I would have done it, but I didn't.
Was it because you felt like you couldn't escape the life you were living?
Yeah, that's what it felt like. I felt stuck.
You had that too.
That's the worst feeling.
You wanted to kill yourself too.
At one point, yeah.